चल रही है, ब्रेक करिए, सीधे देखिए। अरिंदम बागची,
लोग जो वीजा अप्लाई कर रहे हैं उनका प्राइस
नहीं, आपका क्वेश्चन क्लियर नहीं है। आप क्या वो डर रहे हैं इंडियन गवर्नमेंट के एक्शन से?
नहीं, उनका डर ये है कि वो कनाडा में जो लोग हैं वहाँ पर उनकी सिक्योरिटी को लेकर या उनके जॉब को लेकर या उनके स्टडी को लेकर जो कंसर्न है उसको किस तरह से भारत सरकार
समझ गया जी। या go ahead.
I'm Sahil from ANI. Since there are multiple threats to our High Commission and consulates in Canada, is Government of India planning to send its own security as well in that case?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. So I gave you the floor that time, but you weren't ready.
Sir, Shruviranjan from Bloomberg. Sir, can you confirm whether Canada shared any evidence, with us on this particular, before making this allegation in the Parliament? And also whether India, or how many times India has shared its concerns and evidence on nuclear with Canada, and what was their response to it? And an associated question.
What is the second part?
I mean, did India share evidence on Niger and the other suspected Khalistani,
The second question, okay. Can we hold on? We'll come back to more. Okay. Can we wait another one? I've got a whole list, but...
And are we going to join the investigation?
I'll come back to you. Why don't I take yours? Yes, go ahead. Yeah, you. Yeah.
Hi sir, Rajesh here from the Wall Street Journal. Wanted to ask a question. Just a second.
Not ready?
Beyond issuing robust denials, what is India's strategy on countering the allegation which carries a risk of reputational harm to India's global standing?
Okay, fair enough. If it's just on this, otherwise I still see many hands. Maybe one more round? Yeah.
Sir, Meghna from DD News. Is ME considering any specific advisory for the Hindu Canadians? Because we have seen an advisory for Indian nationals and students, but anything specific in view of the threats that have emerged?
Okay. Maybe I will hold off. I think I just see too many hands around. Okay. Let me start with some of the... Rishabh, your query was on diplomats, Canadian diplomats here. Yes, we have informed the Canadian government that there should be parity in strength and rank equivalence in our diplomatic presence, in mutual diplomatic presence. Their numbers here are very much higher than ours in Canada. The details of this are being worked out, but I assume there will be a reduction from the Canadian side. There was a query, I think you mentioned, let me take it in a different order. Siddhant, you had a comment on words used by Canadian Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, and then the US Ambassador, right? Yes, I do think there is a degree of prejudice here, They have made the allegations, they have taken action on them. To us, it seems or it appears that these allegations by the Government of Canada are primarily politically driven. Manish, your query was on briefing our partners, etc. Look, on this one, as I said, we have been, of course, engaged with our partners on various issues, particularly including this one. We have been discussing with them. We have conveyed our position, how we see these developments, and I think those are part of ongoing conversations, but I'm happy to share a little more if you wish to talk about it. I'll come back to this. I just thought I'll mention Manish's view. I'll come back to Manish because let me just make a couple of other points. I think, Sudhi, you had a query about Canada sharing any information. No, let me clarify. No specific information has been shared by Canada on this case, either then or before or after. We have, as we have said, or I think we've been made very clear, we are willing to look at any specific information. We have conveyed this to the Canadian side, made it clear to them that we are willing to look at any specific information that is provided to us. But so far, we have not received any such specific information. There was an indirect question on that. Let me also point out that from our side, very specific evidence about criminal activities by individuals based on Canadian soil has been shared with the Canadian authorities on a regular basis, but not been acted upon. So that is answer to both sides of it, I think you asked. There was a query on, I'll come back. There was a query regarding from I think Manish Jha, आपका प्रश्न था सिक्योरिटी पे. देखिए सिक्योरिटी के मामले में आपने पूछा था हमारे हाँ देखिए हमने सीधे एडवाइजरी इशू की है और डिटेल एडवाइजरी है उनको क्या करना चाहिए. एक प्रश्न और था कि कुछ ग्रुप्स या हिंदू अलग से नहीं. एडवाइजरी सारे इंडियन नेशनल्स के लिए, हम इस तरह से नहीं देखते. इंडियन नेशनल्स के लिए है, स्टूडेंट्स के लिए है, जो ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, जो वहाँ रह रहे हैं, उनके सबके लिए एडवाइजरी है. एंड हम चाहेंगे कि वो उस एडवाइजरी को देखें और पालन करें उसका. साहिल, योर क्वेरी वाज ऑन whether we are sending security. No, look, we have always believed that it is the host government's responsibility to provide security. If there is some places we have our own security posture also, but look, I don't want to discuss security measures.
सीधे मैं आपको बताना चाह रहा हूं बस 2 मिनट के अंदर कि अभी एमईए की ब्रीफिंग में क्या निकल के आया. राहुल सीधे दिखाइए पहली बड़ी खबर, जो इस वक्त की सबसे बड़ी खबर है. राहुल मेरे बगल में ब्रेकिंग और शॉट दिखाइए. कनाडा ने जितने भी आरोप लगाए हैं सब राजनीति से प्रेरित. राहुल, कनाडा एमईए की ब्रीफिंग के शॉट यहां पर होने चाहिए. ये बड़ी खबर है. जो लाइव ब्रीफिंग आ रही है उसको ऊपर करिए, फ्लिप ओवर करके, सो दैट हम यहां पर लाइव बैंड दिखाएं. यहां पर ये एमईए की ब्रीफिंग जो लाइव चल रही है आपके सामने, ये देखिए बड़ी खबर क्या है. पहली बड़ी खबर सीधे तौर पर कनाडा के सारे आरोप राजनीति से प्रेरित. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, कनाडा ने, प्लीज फ्लिप इट ओवर राहुल, यहां पर कनाडा ने जितने भी आरोप लगाए हैं अभी तक कोई जानकारी साझा नहीं की है. दूसरी बड़ी खबर यह है. तीसरी बड़ी खबर, भारत और कनाडा के राजनयिकों की संख्या में समानता होनी चाहिए और यह समानता वहां पर नहीं दिखाई दे रही है. कनाडा के राजनयिक कहीं गुना ज्यादा हैं. और रही बात सिक्योरिटी की, जो मनीष झा ने सवाल पूछा, TV9 के संवाददाता मनीष झा ने सवाल पूछा सिक्योरिटी पे, पीसीआर, प्लीज फ्लिप इट ओवर. ये जो हमारे पास जानकारी आ रही है, मनीष झा ने सवाल पूछा, उस सवाल के जवाब में सीधे तौर पर कहा गया है कि हमने एडवाइजरी जारी कर दी है. सीधे आइए जनरल GD बख्शी सर के पास. बख्शी सर, दिस इज वेरी बिग. आरोप लगाए, कोई जानकारी साझा नहीं की, सारे आरोप पॉलिटिकली मोटिवेटेड है. ये खबर प्लीज यहां पर अपडेट करिए. आरोप पॉलिटिकली मोटिवेटेड है. सीधे चलिए बख्शी सर के पास.
हाँ, देखिए, मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि 1985 में, आज से 38 साल पहले, जो भारत का कनिष्क एयरलाइनर था, उसे खालिस्तानी टेररिस्टों ने वैंकूवर कनाडा में बॉम्ब लगाया था और उसको उड़ा दिया. उसमें कोई 268 कैनेडियन सिटीजन्स थे जो कि भारतीय मूल के थे. आज तक उस पर कुछ नहीं किया गया. ठीक है, कोई कॉन्क्रीट एक्शन नहीं हुआ है. नोबडी हैज बीन ब्रॉट टू जस्टिस. रियली पूरे की पूरी साजिश वैसी की वैसी है. लेकिन 3 महीनों में जब एक टेररिस्ट निज्जर कनाडा में मारा गया, कनाडा की सरकार इस फैसले पर आ गई बगैर किसी डिटेल्ड इंक्वायरी के कि ये भारत की सरकार ने किया है. सरकार पे इल्जाम लगाया है और खुद भी कह रहे हैं कि कोई कॉन्क्रीट एविडेंस नहीं, कॉन्क्रीट क्रेडिबल एलिगेशन.
राहुल टिकर में खबर अपडेट करिए.
आई मीन, दिस इज सम काइंड ऑफ अ जोक.
एब्सोल्युटली, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट.
सम काइंड ऑफ अ जोक.
सर, मैं इस ब्रीफिंग में वापस चलूंगा एक बार. बख्शी सर, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट. मैं सीधे चलूंगा इस ब्रीफिंग में. एक बार फिर से दिखाइए क्या कह रहे हैं एमईए के प्रवक्ता अरिंदम बागची. एक बार फिर से दिखाइए जरा.
Visas. Megha, I think you asked on Pakistan comments. I don't even know how to quite respond to that. Pakistan, if there is the last country, I think, talking about credibility, and I don't think anybody really takes their comments seriously at all. I think that covers it. Sahil, I had talked about security. Rajesh, yeah. Look, if there is any country, if you're talking about reputational issues and reputational damage, if there's any country that needs to look at this, I think it is Canada and its growing reputation as a place, as a safe haven for terrorists, for extremists, and for organized crime. And I think that's a country that needs to worry about its international reputation. I think that covers it. Next, can I take the next rounds of it? I saw your hand a long time. Yes, shall come to you. Yeah, please. We're staying on Canada, right? Yeah, go ahead.
एक बार फिर से हमारे जितने भी दर्शक हैं, TV9 के सभी दर्शक, क्योंकि ये देश का नंबर 1 ग्लोबल न्यूज चैनल है और ये यहां पर हमारी जिम्मेदारी है आपको बताना कि एमईए के प्रवक्ता अरिंदम बागची, जिनको आप लाइव देख रहे हैं, उन्होंने क्या कहा है। पहली बड़ी खबर कि जो भी वहां पर एलिगेशंस लगाए गए वो राजनीति से प्रेरित हैं, नंबर 1। नंबर 2 जो उन्होंने कहा वो बहुत बड़ी खबर है कि हमसे कोई भी जानकारी, कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन साझा नहीं की। नंबर 3, दोनों के डिप्लोमेट्स की संख्या में समानता होनी चाहिए, जो कि नहीं दिखाई दे रही है, ये साफ दिखाई दे रहा है। फिर अपने एडवाइजरी जारी कर दिए। एक क्विक रिएक्शन इस पर अनिल त्रिंगवायत हमारे साथ, एम्बेसडर अनिल त्रिंगवायत मौजूद हैं। सर, वेरी क्विक रिएक्शन आपका इस पर।
देखिए निशान जी, 40 साल से भारत लगातार मांग करता रहा है कि जो टेररिस्ट हैं, जो सिख एक्सट्रीमिस्ट वहां पर हैं, जो इस तरह की एलिमेंट्स हैं, उनके अगेंस्ट एक्शन लिया जाए, उनको एक्सट्राडाइट किया जाए। एक एक्सट्राडिशन ट्रीटी भी है हमारी उनके साथ में, म्यूचुअल लीगल असिस्टेंस ट्रीटी भी है। लेकिन 1982 में जब सबसे पहले हमने बलविंदर परमार को मांगा था, तब से लेकर के और आज तक कनाडा ने।
सर, मैं आपको रोकूंगा, ये बहुत बड़ी खबर है। कनाडा में भारतीय उच्चायोग पर खतरा है। ये खबर ब्रेक करिए, सिर्फ स्क्रीन पर ये खबर दीजिए। कनाडा में भारतीय उच्चायोग पर खतरा है, ये बहुत बड़ी खबर है। एमईए ने कहा ये इस वक्त की बड़ी खबर। ब्रेक करिए, अगर संभव हो तो मनीष झा को मेरे साथ लाइव पर लेकर आइए। ये इस वक्त की बड़ी खबर, खतरे की वजह से वीजा पर रोक, ये बहुत बड़ी खबर है। ये बड़ी खबर, ब्रेक करिए। कनाडा में भारतीय उच्चायोग और काउंसिलेट पर खतरा, एमईए ने कहा स्क्रीन पर मुझे सिर्फ यही ब्रेकिंग दीजिए। ये बहुत बड़ी खबर है। दिस इज रियली रियली बिग जो आपके सामने खबर आ रही है। खतरे की वजह से वीजा पर रोक लगानी पड़ी, ये बहुत बड़ी खबर है। कनाडा में भारतीय उच्चायोग पर खतरा, ये बड़ी खबर आ रही है।
ओके, सॉरी
सर, मैं नीरज दुबे, मेरा प्रश्न ये है कि सर प्रभा साक्षी से नीरज दुबे, मेरा प्रश्न ये है कि जो 5 आईज हैं उनसे पर्याप्त समर्थन नहीं मिला, इसको कैसे देखते हैं आप? क्या इससे झटका लगा ट्रूडो को? और दूसरा सर, अभी जैसा कि खासतौर पे जो इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनको लेकर बहुत सारे सांसदों ने प्रधानमंत्री से भी चिंता जताई है, मंत्रियों से भी मिल रहे हैं, क्या हम कोई हेल्प डेस्क या हेल्पलाइन नंबर वहाँ पे देने जा रहे हैं?
Any other? Yeah, you haven't asked. Go ahead. Somebody had a follow-up.
Sir, just one question. That Australian foreign minister, I think she has said that the Australian side has raised the question of the Canadian delegation with Indian counterparts, or probably with the Indian side. So, has it happened after the statement by the Canadian Prime Minister in his parliament, or I mean, they have been in touch earlier also?
Okay. You hadn't asked a question. Go ahead.
Sir, Thierry Maheshwari, Sputnik India. Canadian MP Chandra Arya, he has expressed concerns that Hindus in Canada, they have gotten in touch with him expressing, concerns about their safety. So has the Indian High Commission or Indian Consulate, have they received any such concerns from Indian citizens in the country?
Okay. Follow-up, yeah. Quick last couple of follow-ups. I think we'll move on. Sorry.
Sir, I'm Siddhant from CNN News 18. Sir, this question has been flagged off by the Indian community in Canada, so that there is one other diplomat in the Indian High Commission in Canada who is being targeted by pro-Khalistani publications, newspapers, and his name is appearing in almost all newspapers. So the Indian community is raising concerns regarding his security, sir, because his name is
Indian diplomat, right?
Indian diplomat, along with the one who got expelled. They are blaming him also for the activities. Allegations are being made.
Okay. Yeah. What is the follow-up? Yeah.
So you said that we have sent the list to Canada to take action against those who pro-Khalistan activists, and no response have been given. How many times have we sent the list?
Okay. And something? We need to close it really.
सर, एक छोटा सा क्लैरिफिकेशन है हरदीप सिंह निज्जर को लेकर, क्योंकि कनाडा के इमिग्रेशन मिनिस्टर ने क्लेम किया है, पहले कहा 2015 में वो कनाडा का सिटीजन बना, अब कहा 2007 में. व्हाट रिकॉर्ड्स डू वी हैव एंड व्हाटएवर रिकॉर्ड्स वी हैव प्रोवाइडेड टू इंटरपोल फॉर हिज रेड कॉर्नर नोटिस?
Okay. Thank you. I think a large number of questions. Let me try to take them. Karishma, on your query regarding parity, I think you didn't get what I'm saying. We had informed, or we have informed the Canadian government that there should be parity of strength and rank equivalence in our diplomatic presence, or mutual diplomatic presence. We think that the numbers are much higher, and those details are being worked out, and we think that hence the number there'll be reduction. So yes, I presume this is pursuant to our conversation or request. Siddhant, on the issue of Canadian visa, right? You asked that first term. Look, I don't want to get into visa requirements of foreign governments, but yes, we have seen reports and heard some things, and if there are cases where we believe that our people are not being given a fair treatment or there been discrimination, we do take these things up. But I would not like to comment on individual cases, but yes, discrimination in how visas are granted by the Canadian side is something of concern, and there have been cases in the past. But I would not like to go into individual responses. Yeshi, and I think that somebody else also asked this. Look, we had issued a press release, I think on the 19th it was, I have a copy here, where we said, yes, these allegations were raised by Prime Minister Trudeau with Prime Minister, and Prime Minister rejected them. I think that's pretty clear about it, so let me reiterate that. I think the same response, I think somebody else raised, that yes, those were raised and they were rejected. Parikshit, e-visas, yes, e-visas also are on temporary suspension. They also, because they would at some point also involve our functioning of our High Commission, our diplomats there, all categories. You said which categories? I think Parikshit, sorry, I missed you somewhere in the back. Yeah, all categories of visas are suspended. Let me explain again. The issue is not about travel to India. The question is not about travel to India. Those who have valid visas, those who have other kind of documents like OCIs are free to travel to India. But the issue is of incitement of violence, the inaction by the Canadian authorities, and a creation of an environment that disrupts the functioning of our High Commission and consulates. That's what's making us stop temporarily this issuance of visas or providing visa services. And as I said, we will be reviewing the situation on a regular basis. Amity, you raised the issue of the Canadian diplomats facing threats here. We take our obligations of Vienna Conventions very seriously, and if there are specific threats and things, I'm sure they are in touch with our security agencies, and we will certainly providing all security and all support to foreign diplomats in India. We would accordingly also expect that the Canadian authorities show similar sensitivity to posters threatening assassination and incitement to violence against our diplomats, attacks on our premises, or such kind of threats, and take their obligations under the Vienna Conventions a little more seriously. Kalol, PhD question on how we look at rule of law. We certainly abide by rule of law. I think if there is a doubt on that, we have in a different conversation. We would, and this leads me to the question some of you asked, we have been sharing details of fugitives from justice who have run away, who are seeking safe havens in Canada and elsewhere, to come back to India and face justice, and justice, whether it's economic fugitives or it's terrorists. I think that's the way rule of law works. I don't even know what else to tell you how to handle. Easier would be if the host governments, where they're seeking safe havens, take action against such terrorists. Reza, yes, the advisory was comprehensive. There was a term called politically condoned activities, hate crimes. You said alacrity. They didn't respond with alacrity. I would go further, say they did not take it at all. It seems there is a feeling that these are part of freedom of expression or whatever you call it, and such hate crimes are being condoned in the political environment and the political system. And certainly that is something of concern, and we have flagged it. सुनीता, आपका प्रश्न था इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स के बारे में. देखिए, इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स जो वहाँ पे हैं, हमने जैसे कहा एडवाइजरी हमने इशू किया है. हमारे हाई कमीशन, हमारे काउंसुलेट्स वहाँ चल रहे हैं, वो काम हो रही है उनमें. कोई दिक्कत हो उनसे कांटेक्ट करें, पर हमने एडवाइजरी में कहा है कि एहतियात बरतें, देखें क्या हो रहा है. ऐसे स्पेसिफिक कोई हमारे पास और एडिशनल इनपुट्स अभी नहीं है. ये प्रश्न किसी और ने भी पूछा था कि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स जो है उनको वीज़ा, हमारे वीज़ा पॉलिसी से कोई उनको फ़र्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए, वो इंडियन सिटीजन्स हैं. और कनाडा क्या करेगी, ये कैनेडियन अथॉरिटी से आपको पूछना पड़ेगा. मैं उसके बारे में कुछ कह नहीं पाऊँ. Rishabh, your question was a follow-up to why this particular step is being taken on parity of strength and rank equivalence. Frankly, yes, the reason is that we have seen Canadian diplomatic interference in our internal affairs. This is a factor that is being taken into account for seeking parity in strength and rank equivalence. Somebody asked, I think, Krishnan, you asked about specifics of some action. Look, these are not things that are to be released publicly, so I'm not in a position to share the same. विजय लक्ष्मी जी, आपने कहा था आपने कहा था सैन फ्रांसिस्को कॉन्सुलेट में कोई अपडेट ऐसा नहीं है। आपने देखा होगा हमारी सिक्योरिटी एजेंसीज ने कोई लिस्ट निकाली है, उनका वो कोऑपरेशन चल रहा है यूएस के साथ, और हम चाहते हैं कि जो इसमें पीछे थे उनके ऊपर एक्शन लिया जाए। आई थिंक कोऑपरेशन चल रही है यूएस अथॉरिटीज के साथ, पर ये हमारे दायरे में नहीं आता उतना। कोई अपडेट हो तो हमारी तरफ से हम बताएंगे आपको। मुकेश कौशिक, आपने पूछा था, आपने बड़ा ही टेढ़ा क्वेश्चन पूछा था। मैं किसी और केस के साथ कोई कंपैरिजन नहीं करना चाहता हूं, लेट मी क्लैरिफाई। वहां सेफ हेवंस दे रहे हैं कनाडा में, वहां पे हम चाहेंगे कि उनके कैनेडियन सरकार सेफ हेवंस न दें, और जिनके अगेंस्ट ऐसे टेररिज्म के चार्जेस हैं उनके ऊपर एक्शन ले, और वहाँ आइदर उनके ऊपर वहाँ एक्शन ले या हमें यहाँ जस्टिस फेस करने के लिए यहाँ भेजे। मुझे पूछा गया था, आई थिंक somebody asked how many such cases were there. My understanding is over 20 individuals. I don't have exact number. That's for security agencies. We have sought either extradition requests or other kind of assistance related to that. So at least more than 20, maybe 25 individuals we have requested over, and not just recently. So many years we've been requesting, and the response has not been helpful at all. Avinash, your question was third countries, Canadian citizens applying. Yes, also will be applicable. Canadian citizens in third countries will also be subject to the same temporary visa suspensions, because at some point this comes through our High Commission, our consulates need to be involved in that process, so that's not going to happen. Amit, I think your question was Sugdul. I think, to be fair, this is not a question that's really in our it's more of a security thing. All I can say is, we have seen reports in this. Frankly, it seems that if you have so much organized crime, this violence has been there. There's a lot of violence when organized crime has such a large presence. That's all I would like to say on that. संतोष, आपका प्रश्न था ट्रिगर। पता नहीं आप क्या ट्रिगर कह रहे हैं, और आप किस पर्सपेक्टिव देख रहे हैं। हमारे पर्सपेक्टिव बहुत सिंपल है, हम कह रहे हैं कि वहां पे जो एक्सट्रीमिस्ट हैं, जो टेररिस्ट हैं, जो ऑर्गेनाइज क्राइम पे इन्वॉल्व हैं, उनको हम चाहते हैं कि उस पर एक्शन लिया जाए। कैनेडियन गवर्नमेंट नहीं ले रही है, और इनका जो एलिगेशन है उस पर मैंने जैसे कहा कि हमारे पास कोई स्पेसिफिक इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं शेयर किया है। तो उसके बाद हमने फिर एक्शन जो लेना पड़ा सब इससे रिलेटेड है कि टेररिज्म पे एक्शन नहीं हो रहा है। अदर कंट्रीज, आशीष आपका प्रश्न था अदर कंट्रीज का। अभिषेक आपका ये प्रश्न, योर थिंग वाज ऑस्ट्रेलियन साइड हैज सेड, लुक, आई थिंक सम ऑफ दिस कंट्रीज हैव मेड पब्लिक that they took up the issue with us, and I think I also said that we are in conversations with many of our partners. I don't want to say which are the countries, because let them mention it. I don't want to get into which countries have been saying what, but as I said, we have ongoing conversations with our friends and partners. I have highlighted our position very clearly, and this is what we have shared with them. It's the same thing I'm telling you that we've been telling them. नीरज जी, आपका प्रश्न 5 आइज के साथ था, पता नहीं आप क्या पूछना चाहते थे, बट वही हमने उनसे भी यही कहा है कि देखिए हमारा जो पोजीशन है कि इसमें टेररिज्म का मुद्दा है, इसमें सिक्योरिटी का मुद्दा है, वहाँ पे जो एक्शंस ले रहे हैं हमारे डिप्लोमेट्स के अगेंस्ट या किसी और के अगेंस्ट, उस किस तरह से रिस्पॉन्ड करें। सानिया, योर क्वेश्चन वाज डिस्क्राइब दिस अगेन ब्रॉडली, एमफिल क्वेश्चन, मे बी नॉट PhD. I think you'd make a good assessment. I don't think we are here to assess a relationship. I think that's beyond the purview of a weekly presser. But clearly, we would expect better steps by the Canadian authorities on our very significant concerns about terrorism, about security of our diplomats, of Indian community, and overall anti-India activities that are being operated or given a safe haven in Canada. कुछ प्रश्न थे हिंदू और आई थिंक सिद्धांत, आई थिंक नो स्पुतनिक वाज अ क्वेश्चन आल्सो, देयर वाज टारगेटिंग ऑफ डिप्लोमैट्स आल्सो, आई थिंक योर क्वेश्चन वाज देयर. आई थिंक द इशू इज लार्जर, एज आई मेंशन्ड, इंडिविजुअल, that is how we are looking at it at all. I think Neville, your question was also that. I think we should look at it on a larger issue of there are elements linked to organized crime, linked to terrorists, secessionists or extremists who are operating freely. They are being politically condoned. They seem to have a free run, and we would expect that the Canadian government takes action against that. As regards the Indian origin or Indian community or Indian diaspora, look, I think they've been speaking out very clearly. Our we have talked about the advisory for Indian nationals, and we would hope that they feel safe. They feel that they can operate there.
Communicate the expulsion of the Indian diplomat.
Sorry, the expulsion. I'll come to that. On the issue of the expulsion, yes, obviously, when our diplomat is asked to leave, they communicate to us. When exactly, I'll have to check. But as I said, we were of course made aware that he had been asked to leave. But I don't have the exact timing with me. Siddhant, there was something on, somebody asked about targeting of another. Look, again, I'm very hesitant to get into individual cases. This brings me to the larger issue of our violence being incited, not just against one diplomat, but you've seen High Commissioner, our Consul Generals are on posters, their faces. I think all of that worries us. It's not about just one individual or otherwise. I think we've covered anybody? Anybody missed?
Are we looking at
sorry. Look, as I said, we are looking at parity. Your question was, are we looking at reduction of our personnel? Look, we're looking at parity in rank and diplomatic strength. We think the Canadian numbers will probably come down, but the discussions are going on. I have no information to share at this point of any change in our diplomatic posture. Of course, if the security situation changes, I would not like to, speculate on that. I think I will stop there. I think I've spoken on the students. I will take no further. Sorry, have I missed your question, Neeraj? Yes. Regarding the issue आपने जो पूछा, देखिए अब इंडिविजुअल फॉर प्रोटोकॉल रीजंस ये जो इश्यूज मैं बताना नहीं चाहता हूँ. कैनेडियन प्रधानमंत्री जी का प्लेन में कुछ दिक्कतें थी, वो जा नहीं पाए थोड़ी देर के लिए. हम हमारी तरफ से हमने जो भी सपोर्ट हम दे सकते हैं हमने ऑफर किया, पर वो फाइनली उनका प्लेन ठीक हो गया और वो चले गए. और बाकी इश्यूज पे मैं टिप्पणी नहीं कर पाऊंगा. Or how many people are registered? I don't have that number right now because there's a large number of Indian students, and this is a comment I would like to make overall. We would encourage students and Indian nationals abroad in all countries to register, but in Canada currently, because of the heightened security situation, we would certainly expect all of them to register. They must be doing so. I don't have an immediate update. I'll get back to you at some point. Okay, is there any non-Canada questions? Well, I think you've shut the door on that one. Yeah, somebody raised a hand first. Who was that? Okay, no, you go ahead, Abhishek. All of you guys have asked a question. Abhishek, go ahead. Non-Canada. Not Canada. Yes.
So my question is regarding Republic Day invitation for the chief guest. So has India invited US President for the Republic Day parade celebration as chief guest? And also, is India planning Quad summit talks around that time?
What's talks?
Quad summit talks around that time, the month of January.
Okay. What else? Anything else? Yeah.
So, in addition to that, there are some, Meghna Dev from BD News, there are some reports that the leaders of Quad countries have also been invited for the Republic Day.
Isn't that what your question was?
And in addition to that.
Okay. Any other hands? If not, I'll close this. Yeah, Sudhi? Yes, your microphone. No, Canada, no. I think we have closed Canada, unless something absolutely that I missed. Yeah, okay.
Sir, the Indian military is holding a conclave of the chiefs of the Indo-Pacific nations.
Yes.
Can we get a confirmation as to whether the Canadian chief is going to come or not?